Hello everybody, welcome back. This will be a fun video, and I'm sure there's not going to be any hate comments. As the popularity of finance, YouTube, and overall the payouts as well go up over time, there's a lot of toxicity that I've noticed really come into play recently, more specifically on Twitter, but also on YouTube as well. Today we're going to talk about some of those communities. I'll be sharing my honest, unfiltered thoughts on it as per usual, and this will be a really fun episode. Investing is not one size fits all these days, everybody. It's personal finance, and I found that too many communities are easily offended if there's any criticism, or they attack you for your personal investments. And I think that needs to change overall, but unfortunately, money brings out a lot of scummy people. Before we get into the video though, let me know in the comment section, what is the most toxic stock community in your opinion? Let's get on to the video.
I like money.
Alright, to start off, we'll go Sofi, and of course I have to bring it over to Twitter here with my good friend Arya, and Arya is, one would say, an op of the Sofi community. Sofi, obviously a very volatile stock. They have the name for the football stadium in Los Angeles, but besides that, they don't do much. And I think Arya's tweet here sums it up pretty easily here. Average Sofi investor, once you grill them for 2 seconds about anything that the company, they can either cuss you out or using price to sales to value a bank. All you Sofi pack holders have been lied to. Obviously, there's a lot of influencers surrounding the stock, and that's a pretty big reason for why it has such a cult-like following. I don't have too much familiarity with the Sofi people. I just think there's a lot better options. Honestly, I'd rather own Bank of America than holding Sofi. It's way too volatile for a bank, and the upside just isn't there. I apologize to Sofi Boy Major Speed, one of my only 3 members. Please do not cancel your membership over this. I beg. I beg. With Sofi people, it's just a lot of degenerates that get really mad because they allocate a lot of money into the stock. That's really it. Nothing really much to it, just pretty toxic in general. If you're actually a long-term investor investing in Sofi, you probably have your own thesis, and you probably don't have it as 90% of your portfolio. Next, we have the total return / performance chasers. These are the people that are delusional enough to think that they can outperform the S&P 500 over a long-term time horizon. For hyping a stock up, calling it a long-term compounder, and selling it there 2.5 years later when it doesn't go up over the last 5 years. These people are awfully derivative from one community not to be named. Now, while this investing style is much better than some of the other ones that I'm going to mention today, it comes off as very toxic. The mindset that, if you're not going to outperform the S&P 500, why are you buying it? These people will attack about any holding that Joseph Carlson does not own in his portfolio. They really like to look at the 5-year chart, and they completely think dividends are irrelevant, which, while dividends aren't free money, they are very relevant in the fact of adding to your total return. They get really mad when you invest in a yield that's over 2.5%, and the recency bias is absolutely off the charts. Once again, the investing style for this one is not that horrible whatsoever, just investing in really good quality companies, but I find a lot of people are just selling out of them after 2.5 years when they don't outperform the S&P 500 and completely abandon their thesis. Right now, you're seeing this with a company like Vici. When interest rates are really high, Vici's obviously not going to outperform the S&P 500. I don't know what you expect, dummy. What kind of bothers me about this is when people really attack people personally for what stocks they are personally buying in their own personal finance journey, and I said personal a lot right there for a big reason. Nobody likes these kind of people, and there's a reason they go to bed alone every night. Next, we have the YieldMax / high yield dividend ETF people. Now, as Capital Mindset loves to say, these funds are targeted for 2 types of people: old people and stupid people, and unfortunately sometimes even people with legit disabilities. I think you could show a monkey how these funds work, and frankly they'd be a lot smarter and understand it a lot better than some of these finance YouTubers who are pumping out content for money, clicks, and views, and to start cult-like followings. There's a lot of money to be had in this from AdSense, guys, I'm telling you. You can easily make a video about an ETF and make $30, $40, $50 and do that 2 or 3 times a day and just completely sacrifice quality and any pride in your content. But I think a hooker in Las Vegas has more pride than some of these finance channels. Now, I've said that these funds are targeted towards old and slower people and people who really don't understand how it works, but they're also really targeted towards a lot of people who have a very victim-like mindset. And sometimes, unfortunately, some of these people are, 40s, 50s, look like they're 70s, and they're acting like complete children. And anytime somebody makes a piece of criticism about their investment that's very legit, they make an entire YouTube video about it, very coincidentally when they're monetized on that account. I would rather invest in horseshit with a fly attached to it than a YieldMax fund. I feel there are some finance YouTubers who are in this space that actually know how the funds work, the risks associated with the NAV erosion and all that stuff that's, kind of important to what I call total return. But there's not a lot of them, and most people are in it just to make a quick buck. And older and slower people are quite frankly victims to this, and it's unfortunate that YouTube AdSense is rewarding this kind of content. Next we have Robinhood, and I mean, this one isn't completely terrible, but I don't think there's any stock that you should be making daily, day-to-day price action updates on it. I don't really call that an investment. That's more of a gamble if you have to pay attention that closely to a company. A lot of people are gobbling over it recently because of the new updates and their premium service or whatever. A lot of people are obsessed with the company and the story, but don't like to look at the financials, unfortunately. Not horrible, worth an honorable mention. Next we have Palantir, and Palantir, of course, is one of the heavy cult communities, especially on Twitter. With Palantir, of course, it's the AI story. A lot of people do not like to hear the downside thesis to it, which I think makes it so toxic. Long term, I think one could make the argument there is a bull thesis for it, especially with war as that increases. But a lot of the AI nerds are all over this one, and you don't want to share your bear thesis, or they'll have your address in 10 minutes. Very weirdly defensive of the company. You know, you have people who are a little delusional saying that it's the next trillion-dollar company. They love throwing the AI word around a lot. Could it be a trillion-dollar company one day? Yes, but will it be the next one? Yeah, it's cult-like behavior. A few honorable mentions that didn't take the list was the Everything Money community. Now, I'm not too familiar with this one, but Andy over on the Discord definitely recommended it, so I had to give it an honorable mention. Obviously, Paul has made some questionable decisions as of recently. They really question his credibility as a person, let alone as an investor. Jeremy, Andre Jick, Graham Stephan, all those people don't really have any active fans anymore, so you can't really put that on the list. Obviously, Jeremy's leaving comments under my videos still on alternate accounts, which is good to see that he has plenty of time on his hands still. I was going to put SHD. I know a lot of people claim they're toxic, but I do see a lot of people that are just kind of poking fun at it for the sake of it, just for engagements on Twitter, so I can't really put it there. If you guys could show me some evidence or whatever, I'd be happy to put it on, but I really haven't seen a whole lot of the SHD bros completely get all toxic. These are just a few of the companies that me and my viewers kind of piled together. There's a lot more toxic communities. Every community can be toxic, guys. So, at the end of the day, my takeaway from this video is it's personal finance, and people shouldn't be poking fun at somebody's individual investing strategy and getting really defensive over individual stocks. If you're emotionally attached to stocks, it's probably not the best thing. Thank you guys for watching. Smash the like button, subscribe, and do dividend stocks on drugs. Have a good one.